At the age when a lot of kids are finding their way around the halls of elementary school, Diane Lane was touring the world as an actress. She started on stage at the age of 6 and became a household name by the time she hit her teen years, after starring alongside Laurence Olivier in the film A Little Romance. Lane soon became a favorite of Francis Ford Coppola, who cast her in movies like The Outsiders and The Cotton Club. Now, after more than 4 decades on screen, she's playing the President of the United States in a new series that takes place in a post-apocalyptic, pandemic-stricken world. Willie got together with Diane in New York for a Sunday Sitdown.
Diane Lane has built a career on reinvention.
And now for something completely different.
He's whining about the First Amendment and calling for
Unity, yes. Let's all join hands with the psychotics of America.
In her latest role, Lane plays a congresswoman thrust into the presidency after a cataclysmic event that kills all of the men on the planet except one.
I think it's going to get worse. Maybe a lot.
Based on the DC comic series, Why the Last Man deals in some familiar themes, with a president trying to unify a fractured nation as it struggles through a pandemic.
Who knew how much life was going to be sort of brushing up very closely against art, or maybe the other direction, art against life?
There are echoes of what happened in this country on January 6th, of
yes.
civil society of disintegrating before our eyes.
And it doesn't seem as far-fetched any longer. Science fiction became much less fiction, and science became very important to our daily lives.
Without men, there is no future. I hear you, but we're just trying to survive the present.
What did you want to bring to a representation of a woman being president?
Well, of course, the humanity of it, the shared experience of it. It was almost like, oh, if the world were only led by women.
Right.
And then you think, well, let's dig into that a little bit. What would it be like? And what would the expectations be placed upon a different gender of leadership? Meaning, the world has higher expectations placed upon women in a lot of ways. And will they live up to it?
The 56-year-old Lane was encouraged to have high expectations by her father, a New York City acting coach and part-time taxi driver.
You know, when your dad believes in you, that puts a lot of fuel in your tank for life.
Sure.
And him putting his hand on my back and saying, you know, could be president of the United States. I'm just saying, could be. And I'd look at him, I was 7 years old, and I'd be like, Dad, that's a little pressure.
At that young age, Lane began traveling the world as an actress with the La Mama Experimental Theater Group.
It sounds like a joke when I say it, that I peaked when I was 10. But in some ways, I did. It was like joining the circus. It was like running away and touring the world with young people in the 70s. It was a wonderful experience. Life by living, life by doing.
Lane's big break on screen came in 1978.
That's the building where I had my first audition. When I say first audition, of a job I got.
It was A Little Romance, your
A Little
first
Romance,
film.
1978.
In that film, she played a young girl in Paris who falls in love with a local boy.
Fantastique.
Are you in love?
Fabulous.
Yeah?
At 14 years old, Lane co-starred in the movie with the famed British actor Laurence Olivier.
If two lovers kiss in a gondola under the bridge of sighs, they will love each other forever.
You're 14. You're on the cover of Time magazine. Laurence Olivier is saying you're the next Grace Kelly.
I thought, this is really bizarre. I'm clearly having an out-of-body experience, and this too shall pass, because I knew it wasn't about merit. It was because I was an anomaly. And I felt a little embarrassed, honestly, thinking, I have no business being on the cover of Time magazine. This is crazy. Please don't ask me to live up to that.
Lane's performance in A Little Romance caught the eye of director Francis Ford Coppola, who cast her in 3 movies in 2 years, including the coming-of-age drama The Outsiders.
Get your feet off my chair.
Where she starred with a cast of young actors that included Tom Cruise, Rob Lowe, and Patrick Swayze.
Becoming a child star can ruin people, obviously, but you survive it, and then some.
Isn't it interesting that they use the word survive?
Yeah, well, because there's
because it is a gauntlet of potential bad choices that you're not even supposed to be aware enough to make good or bad choices. It's all luck, or some person in the background who's a marionette and you're the puppet, and there's strings being pulled that allow you to have good fortune compared to somebody else.
Lane began a fresh run of success in the year 2000 with The Perfect Storm.
For God's sake, don't go.
Followed by an Oscar-nominated performance in Unfaithful.
Tell me what you did.
Tell me what you did.
And a Golden Globe nomination for her starring role in the romantic classic Under the Tuscan Sun.
So what's the secret to have had all these phases where you go...
Being open to change.
Really?
I mean, the human body is very humbling, and if you're a woman, you certainly are aware of the way change is part of your fate. Meaning, if you live a long time and you can add, something to humanity in terms of what you've done with your fame.
With her fame, Lane has for years drawn attention to the impact of climate change on the oceans.
We need laws to catch up to the reality of our planet.
You've got a lot of fans who listen to you. What would you say to them about what we need to do different day to day?
It's not just recycle or get the plastics out of the ocean. Everybody gets so scared. They want to go hide under the table and have a cocktail. So do I. So I want us to wake up together and hold hands and make it a positive movement, because we don't have a time for pessimism. Now I'm going to run for office.
I was going to say, this is it. This is your campaign launch right here. I'll vote for you.
Diane Lane, 2024, maybe. Her new series, Why the Last Man, is streaming now on FX on Hulu. Our thanks to Porterhouse Bar and Grill in New York for hosting Willie and Diane's conversation. And don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Sitdown podcast to hear the full-length interview with Diane Lane. You can find it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get yours.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.